Hi, this is Abe with you. That ain't even tell you like a TIL. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribe. I'm going to talk to you today about Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10, episode 2 and 3. Uh, episode 2 started off where it left off, where Ashley was arguing with Tracy over her relationship with TJ and also her divorce. And so she said, Ashley, I am divorced. I am divorced. Like I told you, I am divorced. And she said, well, my divorce is public records. And then Giselle said, yeah, my divorce from Jamal's public records too. So what's going on with Stacey? What's going on with Stacey? They said, everybody, she said, it's sealed, it's sealed. Everybody don't have their divorce public and stuff like that. And she was saying, you just keep lying, Stacey. You just keep lying. All you do is lie, lie, lie. Just be lying, lying. And the state said, I didn't have anything to lie about. She said, you lied. She said, you lied about the relationship with TJ. And then Giselle said in her confession, you lied a whole year about that, about that, about that relationship with TJ and stuff like that. And she was saying TJ was thinking about filing a lawsuit against you because you didn't pay him and stuff. But I already settled that with TJ. Me and TJ already talked about that, and we buried that. And now it's time to move on, Ashley. And then she kept us in, Stacey's friend said, "What else do you want her to do? What else do you want her to do? Do you want her to show you proof that she's a divorce?" She said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, huh? What?" And then she said, "Yeah, that's what I want. That one." Stacey said, "Well, here." She showed herself on this is the actual decree of my divorce. Here, everybody, this Dale kind of peeped over, and then she talking about, yeah, anybody can use AI and copy and paste a divorce papers. I said, Giselle, you and Ashley are just so missing. Y'all just don't like that girl. And I was saying, I know why you don't like her, Ashley, because you can't handle Stacey. Now, her child, Stacey been eating you up left and right with the shade. And so next thing you know, it switched to the next scene. We switched to the next scene, and the next scene was uh was Ashley talking about she going to the White House correspondent dinner, and she was talking about her and Josh. Been back and forth with their relationship, and she was said when Josh found out that she was gonna be on a Love Hotel. He didn't like that because she was gonna be dating other guys. And then she said in her confession, Josh is the only guy that she's dated that is close around her age, or maybe a little bit younger than her. I said, yeah, because you want the old sugar daddy like Michael, your ex-husband, and all Michael did was made a fool out of you and stuff like that. And so he went and picked up her date, told her she looked nice. She said she looked nice. They showed her driving 2 days. She said, yo, we got some issues that we got to talk about. I said, what kind of issues? She said, we haven't been dating for a while and stuff. She said, you need to realize that I have 2 kids and I got this and right now I'm not serious about anybody. I'm just dating. And then she told me, you need to fix up your time and do this. And I'm saying, no wonder that man don't want you try to tell him how to fix out his time and how to drive and all that kind of stuff. And then switch to the next scene. And the next scene was Angel. And next scene was Angel at her house. And she was talking to her husband. And she was telling him that Kiana introduced her to the new girl group. He asked her, "How do you like being a new girl group by you being the only new one?" She said, "Well, I told Kiana that I want to get to know everybody for myself." She said, "Kiana told me certain things about certain people, but I just wanted to get to know him for myself." He said, "Oh, okay." And then she kept going. He said, "Oh, yeah." She said, "We got he said, he said, okay." And then switch to the next scene. And then the next scene was, was, yeah, the next scene was, Tia talking about her life. And she was talking about she has 2 twin girls. And I think one is Lexi and the other one is Alexa. And then she got a boy, I think his name Robert. Anyway, No, his name not Rob. I think his name Nathaniel or Nate, something like that. But anyway, they was arguing a little bit, and she was saying, you know, back in my country, they would say my daughters and my kids are too American because they're talking back, and my husband don't think it's nothing wrong with that. But I told him there's something wrong with that, especially when they go back over to my country. And she said her family had a problem with her marrying her husband because he was from the south side of Chicago, and he was even though she talking about she misunderstood the stuff culturally because even though he black and stuff like that, it's like it's a different culture. I say y'all all misunderstand us. I say y'all want to bring y'all culture over here, and then when we don't accept it, then y'all look at it funny. Y'all gotta look at it. When we go over there, we have to abide by y'all rules. So y'all gotta do the same thing. But anyway, she had a little thing. I mean, some people like Tia. Maybe I'll have to watch it a little bit more. But as far as now, as far as the first two, three episodes, Tia has not been bringing anything. But anyway, we switched to the next scene, and the next scene was Giselle going to visit Kiana. And after she visited Kiana, and she said, "Ooh, your condo look nice." Everything. She said, "Ooh," he said, "Yeah, I like it." She said, "But that's all white. Some people don't like all white." She said, "Well, all white is good. You got black and white going together. Everything look good, Kiana. How you doing?" And Kiana said, "I'm doing good, Giselle. And how's everything going?" And she said, what's going on with you and Greg? She said, after I went to therapy, I said I was thinking a little bit too much of it. She said, well, we just dating right now. Denver said, oh, dating. That's how y'all doing is dating. She said, yeah. And so she said, is Greg here now? She said, no, he's not here right now. He at work. She said, oh, no, he at work. She said, yeah. She said, what's going on uh, between you and Wendy? Did you and Wendy get a chance to squash your stuff? She said, nah. She said, nah. She said, nah, we didn't get a chance to talk like that. She said, but hopefully, hopefully, me and Wendy could get a chance to talk and get together, especially at my event. She said, oh, you have an event? She said, yeah, I'm going to have an event. I'm going to have a Preakness event. And she said, huh? She said, yeah. She said, I was going to try to do something with Wendy, but Wendy said the head lady of the Preakness event and invited her to do her own event. So we're gonna have to do our event separately. She said, oh, okay. And she said, what's going on with you and Angel? She said, I heard that you had a problem with Angel. And then she said I thought I might have to chin check Angel. And then Giselle said, chin checker. She said, yeah. She said, because at first, the way I heard it and stuff, like she was taking up for the jail, but then after she explained it to me, she said, well, maybe I didn't know what Wendy was going through and stuff, and maybe that's why Wendy didn't speak to me at the NAACP event and stuff like that. Then switch to the next scene. The next scene, they showed Giselle going to Tia's house, and she said, "Ooh, this look nice. Look very nice. Tia, everything going on." And she seen Tia and the kids. She said, "Oh, who take care of the kids?" She said, he does. He take them to all their trips and stuff and stuff. He said, yeah, Tia, we'll be back. We're going to go so you and Giselle can talk. And she said, no, I'm not used to that. She said, I'm used to having people driving me around. Say, when my mom stayed when my mom moved from Nigeria to London, we had maids and bullets and stuff, people drive me around. And they said, yeah, uh, 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 I'm from a royal family over there in Nigeria. She showed a picture of her granddad and stuff like that. And then uh, and then Giselle said, "What did he do?" She said, I think she said I think she said he's some kind of engineer, some kind of engineer, something. She said he do. I can't remember. But anyway, and that little scene was cute. And then the next scene they showed Angel. I mean, yeah, they showed Angel at our house, and she was getting everything set up for her event. And so she said, we got a hostess over here, uh, uh, Carol Nicole, and what it is, she'll give us a lot of stuff, and we're gonna be doing a little sunbathing exercise and stuff. And so Tia and Wendy showed up. They was the first one to show up. Said, "Ooh, you got everything looking good, everything." She said, "Yeah." She said, "We're gonna talk in the kitchen for a little while until she gets through setting up." And then so Ashley showed up, and all the rest of the ladies showed up. And then she said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Everything is going on." She said, Giselle said, Wendy, did you and Kiana get a chance to work out your stuff?" And then Wendy said, "What stuff?" I really don't have no problem with Kiana. I told Kiana I didn't have no problem. If there's anybody have a problem with you, it's on Kiana, not me. Yeah. And so, and so, and so they was getting, and they said, "Oh, the lady said we ready to go outside." So they went outside, and they started breathing, doing the breathing exercise. Then they started humming out. And she had some kind of little, little, had some kind of little smoke and stuff going around. And then when sunbathing and stuff, I said, "Y'all want all y'all to release all y'all negative energy, what y'all was thinking about." And Ashley had her mind thinking about Josh and other people and dating older men. And everybody had their own little stuff in their little head, what they was thinking about. And so when they got there, they said, "Oh, we could go back into the house, go back into the house." So they went back into the house. And they was getting ready to sit down and eat lunch. Then here comes Giselle. Uh, uh, Angel, Kiana. Now, I heard that Kiana had a problem with you. I heard Kiana say she was going to chin check you. She said, "Huh? What? Chin check me?" She said, "I don't believe Kiana said that. Kiana, my friend, we were been friends for 25 years and stuff like that." And then so Kiana said, "I don't remember saying, I don't think I said that." Giselle said, "Yes, you did say it." And then she said, "No, I don't think I said it." And then so I went back in the room. I guess I showed the flashback. And then Tiana said, "Well, if I did say that, because Giselle said I did say it," and Giselle said, "Why would I have to lie? Why would I have to lie?" She said, "But if I did say it, Angel, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it." She said, "But Angel, the way it was told to me, the way you was taking up for Giselle," she said, "But after we had our private talk, and you told me exactly what you said and what you did." I said, "Oh, that wasn't what I thought it was. So that's why I'm sorry." And and, uh, and so Angel was looking kind of funny, and then so and then so and then so it switched to the next and we switched to the next scene, and Angel was still just switched to the next scene where Giselle and Angel and Tia was at the shopping because Giselle said she gonna take them on a trip. Okay, I'm back. This is episode 3. Episode 3 started out with Angel at her house, and her and her husband was cooking breakfast, and he's putting some biscuits in the oven. And then switch to the next scene, and next scene was Ashley at the gym working out, and she said she tried to get her workout in early in the morning, like before the boys get up and stuff. But she was saying when she be in a gym with a whole lot of people, she be in the gym with a whole lot of people, it makes her want to work harder and work harder on the workout stuff because she wants to be number one in everything that she does. I say, "Ask you, but sit your butt down because one, you can't sing. Two, you're not a good singer. And three, the only reason why you on this show because you miss it. Because everybody's been saying for the first 3 episodes that without Michael, you really don't have no drama on your own, no story on your own. So you need to go and sit down somewhere, Ashley." Next thing you know, they switch to the next scene, and the next scene was Stacey taking her daughter Bella to her recital in her pageantry. She said her daughter Bella wants to be in the child pageants, so she's taking her. And they showed her how to walk and being a pageant girl. And they put a little crown on her head where she was walking and stuff. And she was saying that that her and her ex-husband having told Bella that they are back together. Bella just think that he just comes around just to visit her and stuff like that. And I said, Didn't you say that Bella was like 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9? I said, that girl I already know. I said, y'all think y'all keep a step from that child? I said, that child I already know there's something going on. She very smart. She realized her daddy just ain't coming around that much just to be coming around. And so she told me how pretty Bella looked, and Bella did look good and stuff like that. And then it switched to the next scene, and the next scene was Kiana and Wendy at the park talking, and she said, "Yeah, Wendy, I invite you to the park to come and talk to me, so we can kind of hash out our issues and get about issues and stuff like that." And and she said, Wendy, what is you didn't let me know you didn't let me know that you was gonna that you was gonna be at the NAACP awards, and then you didn't speak to me and you didn't say nothing to me, and that kind of hurt my feelings. That's why I say you only want to be friends with me when the cameras are around. When the cameras are around, you don't call me, you don't check on me. When they say, well, you don't call me either, Kiana. You haven't called me in a while after the show was out and after the reunion. She said, so we both did the same thing. And anyway, I've been real busy. Like I told you, I'm a correspondent. I have my own podcast, and then I teach at the college, so I really don't have time to be doing all that. And she said, well, but Wendy, I'm just expressing you how I feel and my feelings and stuff like that, and you invalidate my feelings, you disrespecting me and stuff like that. And when he said, like I mentioned, the kind of friendship that Kiana wants and needs is not the friendship I'm interested in. I can't be baby and calling nobody. And I'm saying, baby and Cotton, the girl just wants you to acknowledge that's the way she feels and stuff like that. I said, you could acknowledge that and say, well, Kiana, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I didn't mean no harm. But now she's staying 10 toes down with her elitist attitude. That's what makes me so mad with Wendy. I mean, she's a likable character, but that elitist attitude just turns me off. But anyway, she said, "Well, what is Kiana? To me, we don't have no issue. The issue is just on you. This is just on you." And she said, "Oh, Wendy, what I was going to talk about. I see now." She said, "Okay, I see now. We can just move on." She said, she said, Preakness is coming up." And she said, "Well, yeah, maybe me and you could do a Preakness thing together." And then Wendy said, "No." The head of the Preakness thing told me that she wanted me to do an event by myself. She said, "Okay, one day you do your event, I'll do my event," and then switch to the next scene. Switch to the next scene, and then the next thing was Angel and her husband at her house, and she was saying that he was saying, "Well, how did everything go with the event, you and the girl?" She said everything went well at first. She said, but then after the event, when we came in to eat lunch and stuff, Giselle coming at me talking about Kiana said that she was gonna chin check me, and the other said, "Ooh, chin check you, ooh, them fighting words." And she said, "Yeah, that's why I said, and I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it that Kiana was saying anything about it, because we've been friends for 25 years." He said, "I'm gonna put these biscuits in the oven." And she said, "Yeah," and she said, "Yeah," and she said, "I couldn't believe it." She said, but when, after I talked to Kiana, probably Kiana explained to me what she was talking about, and she was saying the way it was brought to her, what I said. So we kind of went on squat. She said, "But I didn't like that, but that Giselle woman doing that." He said, "Yeah, you better kind of watch those girls and stuff like that." And he said, "Oh, the biscuits are ready." And then switch to the next scene. And switch to the next scene, and then the next scene was, I think the next scene was Wendy at her house with her kids. No, that wasn't it. The next scene was, and let me pause it right quick, and I'll be right back. I'm back. The next scene is Stacey meeting up with Jazzy And they would meet up at the restaurant and said, "Ooh, I haven't talked to you and seen you in a long time, Jazzy." She said, "Yeah, not since last year." And she said, "I'm sorry, Jazzy, that I had a lot of stuff going on. I haven't been a friend that I'm supposed to be to you." And she said, "But I'm glad you still there. I'm glad you in my corner." And stuff like that. And so she said, yeah. She said, yeah, I'm glad to see you too. And you said, what's going on? She said, yeah, Ashley's been really coming for me, Jazzy, really coming for me. And Jazzy said, I've heard. She said, but I don't know why. I haven't done anything to Ashley. And Ashley keep telling my reason why she have a problem with me because I'm a liar. And I told her what a lie about and stuff like that. She said, oh, yeah, you got to watch the ass, you got to watch the ass. And she said, yeah, are you going to come to my wedding or my bridal shower? I said, oh, Jazzy, I can't. I got an event going on the same day. I can't. And Jazzy said, well, I would love for you to come, but since you have an event, I understand. And then, and then, and then, she said, yeah, I want to come, but I can't. She said, that's okay. And then switch to the next scene, and then the next scene was Giselle and Ashley meeting up at the restaurant, and they want to talk about kissing. Ooh, Karen's birthday coming. Let's talk about Karen's birthday. Karen's birthday. So yeah, I want to do something for Karen's birthday with us and the girls just to have remembrance. And she said, and Ashley said, have you heard anything from Karen? She said, no. The only way I know about Karen is through Ray and Karen's friend. You know, Karen's friend's cooking. She had been there. She had been there the whole trial, the whole trial. Next thing you know, Cookie walked in, and then she said, what's going on? How y'all ladies doing? She said, we're doing all right. She just said, I just want to have something to go along with the girls. They have something for Karen's birthday party. We're going to have a little bit party. We want to include you. She said, how's Karen? She said, Karen's doing good and stuff. Karen and Ray are both doing good. Kids doing good. Everything. And she said, yeah. Did you hear? And then Giselle said, what? And Ashley said, I heard that Stacey had been dating Chris Samuels. And then Giselle said, huh? And then and then Cookie said, what? Everybody know Chris Samuel, but huh? That's surprising. Knew she dating Chris Samuel, and then she got to looking, and then it went out, and they had to bring them up, went out and stuff. Cookie, somebody said Cookie was a good addition. Like her, Cookie did have a big personality and stuff like that. Then Ashley also talking about she had big boobs and stuff like that. So Ashley, we all be so messy and stuff. But episode 2 and 3 were okay. My next episode is probably gonna be uh maybe 4 and 5 because they're already talking about the mid-season trailer. I'm trying to catch up as much as I can. Uh, Last week these videos supposed to be out, but my camera messed up and only recorded one video. Everybody else is black screen. So I'm doing these videos over. I really don't like that. That's all I have for this video. This is A Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. I am